see where changes and improvements can be made. The picture on the bottom is our Charlie Cart program in partnership with North Ridgeville Branch Library. The Charlie Cart is essentially a rolling kitchen. It allows you to have the opportunity to get hands-on experience in basic culinary skills, learning how to read a food label, how to cut up fruits and vegetables, how to incorporate fruits and vegetables in your everyday diet, and even learning things like sauteing, which can be kind of tricky if you've never been experienced in the kitchen before. The library offers programs for youth, children, and families and older adults. And a lot of times the classes do get really busy and they get full. So it's definitely recommended to pre-register ahead of time if you're interested. And the picture on the far right-hand side is from our indoor walking program. So indoor walking has become a sustainable effort over the past couple of years in partnership with Liberty Elementary and LCCC in North Ridgeville. And we're now able to offer indoor walking 3 days a week on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. And it's open to the public and all ages and all abilities are welcome. And it really is meant to provide a free space where people can stay safe indoors from the cold and stay active during those cold winter months. And this is the first time we've been able to start it up as early as we have. So indoor walking this year will now be from October all the way through March. So where are we going in 2023 and beyond? A really big focus for our collaborative has been focusing more on those big built environment changes that are going to be sustainable. We've been working closely with Ken Lieber as well as the engineers to think about what types of enhancements and improvements can be made on the multi-purpose trail along Center Ridge Road. This past summer, collaborative members were able to do a walk audit along Center Ridge, and they assessed what types of individuals were using the Center Ridge multi-purpose trail. Were they biking, were they walking or running? And then we also identified areas where we can further enhance. And we have plans this spring to add some line striping along the trail and mile markers. And we also have funding available with our United Way of Greater Lorraine County grant to support the active transportation study once that begins here, hopefully in the spring with NOACA. And lastly, we're really trying to prioritize our efforts to address mental health. We recognize that mental health and physical health are very related to one another, and it was already a concern in public health before the COVID-19 pandemic. But now that we're coming out of the pandemic, we recognize that there are still more significant needs for both children and older adults. So how can you get engaged? Of course, referring people to our programs or participating in yourself is a great way. I brought some brochures with me to talk about Heart and Soul and flyers, so I can leave those in the lobby tonight. But also advocating for good health. We always are welcoming to having new members attend a meeting, or if you can't make it to all meetings but want to just attend and see what one looks like, we always welcome that. We meet on the second Tuesday of each month. And as always, we are encouraging our collaborative members to ask community residents about what types of options they want to see in terms of walking and biking and other built environment changes. This wraps up my quick report out. Thank you again for the opportunity to present tonight on Heart and Soul, and we really look forward to working more closely in North Ridgeville over the next couple of years.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the presentation. If you ever have the opportunity to come to one of the Heart and Soul meetings, I mean, they work very hard to work with the city of North Ridgeville to present programs such as this and continue the process. So you can be healthy, and not only that, mentally healthy. That completes my report this evening. At this time, we will do the executive recess. Back in a few minutes.
We'll skip the engineer for the time being. We'll do, Auditor.
Thank you, Council President. Before council tonight, T-168, an ordinance amending 2022 annual appropriations. T-169, which is a then and now resolution. T-170, which is an ordinance establishing the unclaimed money funds. And T-171, which is an ordinance amending Ordinance 5903/2022 for the purchase of a 2022 John Deere tractor. With regards to T-171, this ordinance adds wording indicating that the payments for the lease purchase are subject to annual appropriations. This wording needs to be included in our lease purchase ordinance to maintain compliance with our annual debt limitation for issuing tax exempt debt. And an ordinance T-170/22, the establishment of the unclaimed monies fund. We're asking to establish this fund in order to accommodate outstanding checks which exist on the city's bank reconciliation. Many of these checks are stale dated and we've reached out to the payee, but the money remains unclaimed. So we give the payee additional time to claim their funding before it reverts back to the general fund. But in order to segregate this money into a separate fund that is being held in trust, until that time, the unclaimed monies fund is necessary to accommodate that. I'd like to ask council to consider adopting these 4 pieces of legislation tonight with the emergency clause to give the auditor's office the necessary resources to meet our financial obligations. And thank you. That concludes my report.
Checking on the engineer. I know she heard me when I said, come on up. But she responded. Maybe she's been waylaid.
She's probably working.
While we're waiting, we will announce other reports. Is it minded here? Other reports, November 2022, the building department report, and November 2022 fire department report. Engineer, if we could have your report tonight, please.
Absolutely. So I don't have any construction updates, but I did want to let everybody know that the engineering department has recently received the draft version of the North Ridgeville Water Asset Management Plan from OHM. The plan includes a technical evaluation of all of our water assets based on a methodical scoring approach that looks at 2 main factors. That is the probability of failure, which includes factors like age and material, as well as the consequence of failure, which includes the population that's on the line, as well as critical users, such as medical facilities or education facilities. Based on these factors, OHM was able to create a capital improvement plan that prioritizes the replacement schedule of water assets. With this information, they were then able to create a financial evaluation based on multiple capital improvement scenarios, utilizing our current water utility rates to determine our future needs. The engineering department is currently reviewing this report, and we hope to share the final version in January. I also wanted to share that the engineering department recently had a kickoff meeting for our master sanitary sewer plan with AECom. Similar to the water asset management plan, AECom will be evaluating the city's existing sanitary sewer assets. But there are many more factors that are involved with evaluating those assets, including capacity, I&I issues, and current and expected growth. As part of this plan, AECom will be developing a hydraulic model for the entire network, which is something that hasn't been done for a long time here. So I'm looking forward to having that hydraulic model for us to work with. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Uh, No old business. New business, City of North Ridgeville Community Reinvestment Area Housing Council appointment.
Sure. City council appointments, a motion to appoint Councilman Bruce Avens and Jackie Hutchins to the Community Reinvestment Area Housing Council for a 3-year term expiring on December 31st, 2025.
I will be abstaining from this, so we will do a roll call.
Somebody other than the clerk has to make that motion.
Okay,
One of the council members.
Mr. President, I guess I'm not familiar with the Community Reinvestment Area Housing Council is. Can someone? This is.
I can handle that if you'd like.
Please.
All right, so we used to have a tax abatement review board. And that had been formed for years. We were going along smoothly with that, except it was not exactly what we needed to do. And so when our planning and economic development director took a look at that, after consultation with a couple of other outside people, we have come up with a replacement for the tax abatement review board, and it is now the Community Reinvestment Area Housing Council. And the reason why the word housing council is in there is because tax abatements originated under a residential theory back in the day when they first came up with the idea, and that's how there's the connection to this. So that's what it is, and it's a replacement for that. There'll be more members on that council than there were on the tax abatement review board, but it is just a replacement of that.
But through the chair, they serve the same purpose
Of
of hearing the tax abatement applications and whatnot.
correct.
Thank you. So that being said, I'll move to appoint Councilman Bruce Avens and Jackie Hudson to the Community Reinvestment Area Housing Council for a 3-year term.
second. Okay, motion moved by Councilman Winkle and seconded by Mr. Councilman Booth. As he said, I will be abstaining, so we would do a roll call here.
Swink,
Yes.
Booth,
Yes.
Evans,
abstain.
Winkle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0 with 1 abstention. And then at this point, I would like to make the motion to appoint the mayor position. And as a representative of the city schools, the superintendent to the Community Reinvestment Area Housing Council for a 3-year term expiring on December 31st, 2025.
Second.
The motion was made by the mayor, seconded by Councilman Winkle. Here we will do a voice vote. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Opposed? Motion passes. We're on to recess.
Mr. President, move to dispense with recess.
Suspension of recess moved by Councilman Winkle, seconded by Councilman Bruce. Roll call.
Yes.
Bruce? Yes. Evans?
Yes.
Winkle?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
DeVries?
Yes.
Motion passes.
On to first readings.
An ordinance creating a new chapter 213 disposal of municipal real property of the North Ridgeville codified ordinances.
E-167.
T-167-2022, PID number 105742, project name Lorraine US 2019.83. An ordinance amending ordinance number 6001-2022, cooperating with the Director of the Ohio Department of Transportation for the resurfacing of Center Ridge Road through the city of North Ridgeville, Lorraine County, Ohio.
Mr. President,
Mr. Mayor.
move to dispense with the second and third readings for T-167.
We'll do a voice All those in favor, say yes.
Mr. President,
Yes.
could you do the courtesy of before asking for a vote, to ask for the very.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes,
Most times there's not, but there's maybe, thank you.
yes. Are there any comments or questions? Seeing none? Voice vote? All those in favor? Say yes.
Yes.
Opposed?
Mr. President, move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, move to add the emergency clause. As you know, we have discussed this issue several times. The cost unfortunately is increasing. And we have a deadline that has been asked for us to meet by ODOT in order to secure that contract for next year.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion moved to adopt emergency. Motion by the mayor, seconded by Dennis Booth on the emergency and emergency only. Roll call?
Swink,
Yes.
Boost,
Yes.
Havens,
Yes.
Winkle. Yes. Haywick,
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
And on to motion for adoption, seconded by motion by the mayor, seconded by Dennis Booth. Roll call?
Swink,
Yes.
Boost,
Yes.
Havens.
Yes.
Winkle. Yes. Haywick,
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously and becomes ordinance number 6020-2022.
P-168.
P 168-2022, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5889-2021 of the city of North Ridgeville, Ohio, providing appropriation for the period commencing January 1st, 2022, and ending December 31st, 2022.
Mr. President,
Mr. Hughes.
motion to dispense with the second and third reading.
Second.
Motion to suspend second and third reading. Motion by Councilman DeVries, seconded by Councilman Winkle. All those in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed?
Mr. President,
Mr. DeVries.
motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, motion to add the emergency clause for the reasons stated earlier by the auditor.
Second.
Motion to use the emergency clause. Motion by Councilman DeVries, seconded by Winkle. All roll call on the emergency clause only.
Swink,
Yes.
Boost,
Yes.
Havens,
Yes.
Winkle. Yes. Haywick,
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Mr. DeVries has also made motion to adopt, seconded by Councilman Winkle. Are there any comments, questions, additions? Seeing none, roll call.
Swink,
Yes.
Boost,
Yes.
Havens,
Yes.
Winkle. Yes. Haywick,
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously and becomes ordinance number 6021-2022.
T-169.
T 169-2022. A resolution to authorize the execution of the then and now certificates by the fiscal officer and the payment of amounts due for various purchase orders.
Mr. President,
Mr. DeVries.
motion to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
Motion to suspend the second and third readings made by Councilman DeVries, seconded by Councilman Winkle. All those in favor? Say yes.
Yes.
Opposed?
Mr. President,
Mr. DeVries.
motion to adopt.
Second.
President, motion to add the emergency clause for the reasons stated earlier by the auditor.
Second.
Motion to add the emergency clause only, moved by Councilman DeVries, seconded by Councilman Winkle. Roll call.
Swink,
Yes.
Boost,
Yes.
Havens,
Yes.
Winkle. Yes. Haywick,
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
A motion on the floor for passage of the ordinance 169, moved by Councilman DeVries, seconded by Councilman Winkle. Are there any comments, questions? Roll.
Swink,
Yes.
Booth.
Yes.
Stevens. Yes. Swinkle.
Yes.
Haywick.
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously and becomes resolution number 1580-2022.
T-170.
P-170-2022, an ordinance establishing the unclaimed money fund.
Mr. President,
Mr. DeVries.
motion to dispense with second and third readings.
Second.
Motion to suspend second and third reading, moved by Councilman DeVries, seconded by Councilman Winkle. All those in favor, say yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Opposed?
Mr. President,
Mr. DeVries.
motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, motion to add the emergency clause again for the reason of the auditor.
Second.
On the emergency clause only. Mr. DeVries has made that motion. Councilman Winkle seconded. Roll call.
Swink,
Yes.
Booth.
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywick,
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
On T-170, Mr. DeVries on the floor, moved to adopt T-170, seconded by, Councilman Winkle. Are there any questions, comments? Roll call.
Swink,
Yes.
Booth.
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywick,
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously and becomes ordinance number 6022-2022.
T-171.
T-171-2022. An ordinance amending ordinance number 5903-2022, which approved the lease purchase of a new 2022 John Deere 5055E utility tractor.
Mr. President,
Mr. DeVries.
motion to dispense with second and third readings.
Second.
Motion to suspend second and third readings made by Councilman DeVries, seconded by Councilman Booth. All those in favor? Say yes.
Yes.
Opposed?
Mr. President,
Mr. DeVries.
motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, motion to add the emergency clause again for the reasons stated by the auditor.
Second.
Motion for emergency clause for T-164, I'm sorry, excuse me, T-171. Made by Councilman DeVries, seconded by Councilman Booth. Roll call.
Swink,
Yes.
Booth,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywick,
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
On the floor, Councilman DeVries. Motion for T-164, seconded by Councilman Winkle. Are there any comments, questions?
Point of order. That was T-170,
Oh, I'm sorry.
T-171.
T-171. One, yeah. 171. What did I say?
You had stated was for 164.
Oh, excuse me, skipping down. 171, pardon me.
Also, Mr. President, point of order, I think it was seconded by Councilman Booth.
You're correct. Thank you. T-171, second, motion by Councilman DeVries, seconded by Councilman Booth. Are there any comments, questions? Roll call.
Swink,
Yes.
Booth,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywick,
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously and becomes ordinance number 6023-2022.
T-172.
T-172-2022. An ordinance establishing a Department of Finance and defining the responsibilities of the Department of Finance.
Sorry.
What is that? T-170.
T-173.
T-173-2022. An ordinance amending North Ridgeville Ordinance 5596-2018 to maintain parity in certain benefits provided to city employees and certain department heads, supervisory employees, and confidential employees.
On to second readings.
T one seventy.
We want to, sorry. Yeah. Go. T-174.
T-174 2022, an ordinance amending Exhibit A of North Ridgeville Ordinance 2725-93 to maintain internal wage parity between certain supervisory and confidential employees.
Now we can go to second readings. 164.
T-164 2022, an ordinance providing appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of North Ridgeville, Ohio for the period commencing January 1st, 2023 and ending December 31st, 2023.
Mr. President,
Mr. Beers.
motion to dispense with the second, third read, with the third
I
reading.
think we're planning on a third reading for this.
Okay. I withdraw.
That particular legislation seems to cause us a little trouble.
A little bit.
Mostly on my part. Third readings. T-156.
T-156 2022, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Clifford Winkle for the purchase of real property in the amount of $83,000.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Swing.
move to adopt.
Second.
T-156 was moved by Councilwoman Swink and Councilwoman at Large Haywood. Are there any comments, questions? Roll call.
Swink,
Yes.
Booth,
Yes.
Havens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Abstain.
Haywick,
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously and becomes ordinance number 6024-2022 and one abstention. Thank you. Motion 5-0 with one abstention.
T-158.
T-158-2022, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5857-2022, which authorized the mayor of the city of North Ridgeville to lease/purchase a single axle dump truck with plow and accessories from the state bid list or state co-op, or to advertise for bid and enter into a 5-year lease/purchase agreement, subject to annual appropriations with an outside vendor according to law and in a manner prescribed by law, not to exceed $250,000.
Mr. President,
Mr. Boots.
move to adopt.
Second.
Motion was to move by Councilman Booth, seconded by Councilman Winkle. Mr. Mayor, is this time sensitive?
It is not.
Okay. Roll call. I'm sorry. Any comments, questions?
Mr. President, I have a question.
Yes.
Do we need to add the same verbiage in T-158 that we added?
Oh, in the
Purchase agreement shall be subject to annual appropriation.
It is in the wording here, in the header and within the body of the ordinance.
Okay.
any further questions, comments? Roll call.
Swink,
Yes.
Booth,
Yes.
Havens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywick,
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously and becomes ordinance number 6025-2022.
T-159.
T-159-2022. Resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of North Ridgeville to accept grant monies from the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission and make disbursements to the North Ridgeville Veterans Memorial Group, the Armed Service Veteran Memorial located in South Central Park.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Swank.
move to adopt.
Second.
Motion to pass made by Councilwoman Swank, seconded by Councilwoman Awig. Any comments, questions?
Mr. President,
Mr.
I just
Beers.
wanted to acknowledge the hard work that President Mark Steinbrenner and Jim Molesky have put into this, as well as the committee they put together. They've worked really hard on raising money, and I'm glad to see the city supporting them. It's for a great cause for our veterans, and I applaud them for all the hard work they've done. Thank you.
Any further questions, comments? Roll call.
Swink,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Havens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywick,
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes,
Motion carries unanimously, becomes resolution number 1581-2022.
T160.
T160-2022, an ordinance amending Exhibit A of North Ridgeville Ordinance 2725-93 to maintain internal wage parity between certain department heads, supervisory employees, and confidential employees in 2022.
Mr. President,
Mr. DeVries.
motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, move to add the emergency clause. If you remember, we discussed wanting to have this go into effect prior to the end of the year, so it'll be effective January 1st.
I'll second that.
Second.
Motion for emergency made by the mayor, seconded by Council President Havens. For emergency clause only. Roll call.
Swink,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Havens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywick,
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes,
Motion carries unanimously.
And on the floor stands, I believe, motion to adopt made by DeVries, seconded by Haywick. Any comments, questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Swink,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Havens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywick,
Yes.
DeVries.
yes,
Motion carries unanimously and becomes ordinance number 6026-2022.
T161.
T161-2022, an ordinance amending North Ridgeville Ordinance 5596-2018 to maintain internal wage parity between certain department heads, supervisory employees, and confidential employees in 2022.
Mr. President,
Mr. DeVries.
motion through the chair to the mayor. Will this also require the emergency clause?
It will,
Thank you.
please.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion to add the emergency clause for the reasons stated earlier by the mayor.
Second.
Motion to, for the emergency clause made by Councilman DeVries, seconded by Councilwoman Haywick. Roll call.
Swink,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Havens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywick,
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes,
Motion carries unanimously.
Motion to adopt made by DeVries, seconded by Haywick. Are there any comments, questions? Roll call.
Swink,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Havens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywick,
Yes.
DeVries.
yes,
Motion carries unanimously and becomes ordinance number 6027-2022.
Right, that concludes. The next regular council meeting will be on Monday, December 19th, 2022 at 7 p.m. in City Council Chambers.
Through the chair, real quick, can we double check the ordinance number? I had 602812. I'm sure. What's T161?
Hey, 27.
At 6027-2022.
Did you have 6023 for T171?
Yes, 6023-2022 for T171. And T159 was a resolution.
For me, it's T161. T170. T170.
We passed 7 ordinances.
And one resolution. 1, 2.
2 resolutions. So they're not.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's my
Yeah,
mistake. The resolution. Sorry about that. I just wanted to be sure. Thank you.
For everyone.
Thank you for your diligence. Meeting is adjourned.